Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, was a TV series that aired on Fox back in 2008. The premise of the show, it actually takes place after the events of Terminator 2, Judgment Day, where we see Sarah Connor, who's still protecting her son John Connor, taking care of him. He's 16 now, so it has been a couple of years later, but she still thinks that Judgment Day will happen and that he's in great danger. And of course, she proves to be right, because multiple Terminators, yes, plural, multiple Terminators are sent from the future back in time to kill John, but luckily this time around they have a Terminator of their own to protect them in Cameron. Now, what I think of Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles is, I don't dislike the show. I think it's okay, but I didn't love it. And I'm not saying it was bad. In fact, there were a lot of moments and episodes that I thought were great. But there was a lot of other moments and just a lot of things on the show that I thought were dumb and I just didn't care for. Let's get into it. Quite possibly one of the best things about the show was Lena Headey as Sarah Connor, because Lena Headey is a great actress, and I like the way that she plays Sarah Connor, because it's not exactly like Linda Hamilton's Sarah Connor from the second film, because that Sarah Connor was very hardened, very emotionless. Lena Headey plays her where you could tell she does still have that pain, but she's a lot more loving, caring for John. You could tell that she's trying to open up to him and trying to be there for him also as a mom. One of my favorite things about what she goes through throughout this whole series is when she finds out from Cameron, the Terminator, that just like in the third movie, Rise of the Machines, where we found out that she died of cancer, when she finds this out in this new sort of timeline, she's constantly afraid of the fact that she could have cancer, or she could get cancer. So seeing her have to go through something like that she can't really control. Thomas Dekker plays John Connor. In the first season, I didn't really care for him. He had that sort of CW look where, I'm not saying I dislike actors from the CW, but they all sort of look the same. He was 16, so of course he's constantly arguing with his mom, constantly disagreeing with her. And I'm not saying Sarah Connor always has to be right, but a lot of the times she was right. So for him to constantly yell at her and constantly go off, disobey her, and go do something stupid just made me go, you fucker. For once, listen to your mom. She's telling you how important you are. She's telling you that you're going to be this big leader to lead humanity, try to save the world in the future, and you're just kind of being a dick. Luckily, though, by season 2, he cut his hair and he started to make better decisions. And the times that he did disagree with Sarah Connor, usually he ended up being right. So he was better in season 2. Now, my favorite thing about the show has to be Summer Glau as Cameron, the Terminator that's protecting them. Summer Glau is such a great actress. Seeing her play a Terminator, a robot, she's so convincing as a robot, and I know that probably doesn't sound like a whole lot or that impressive, but being convincing as a robot and not having emotions, and showing, at her small frame too, showing that she can be a badass and that she can pull off all this stuff. I was so impressed by that. The episodes centered around her character, I thought were the best and some of my favorite. Like, somebody rigs her car and it explodes. The beginning of season 2, you see the aftermath of that, where she comes out of the fire and it sort of screwed up the chip in her head. So instead of protect John Connor being her mission, it changes to terminate John Connor. So the first episode of season 2, she's going after them. And I loved seeing her be that cold-hearted, stone-faced Terminator, kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger from the first movie. But then her also manipulating people, lying to people, using her hot feminine ways, knowing how to use that against people, especially John himself, was cool. And the one episode where, because still her chip being messed up, she starts to get all of these human emotions and memories, because you see through flashbacks, or I guess flash forwards, because in the future there was this girl, Allison Young, who Summer Glau also played, and she was a member of the Resistance. She was with John Connor, she was loyal to him, but she got captured by Skynet, and she got tortured and beat up and treated like crap until she eventually got killed. And they modeled this Terminator after her. It has her likeliness. It looks like her, sounds like her, and it ended up getting her memories. So seeing Summer Glau Cameron have these memories and forgetting that she was a robot herself, thinking that she was actually this girl, all of that I found fascinating. Brian Austin Green shows up as Derek Reese. Yes, Kyle Reese's brother. And at first I didn't really know what to make of Brian Austin Green, because everyone, I'm sure, knows him from 90210. He kind of has that stigma. But I ended up liking him on the show, surprisingly. He had that sternness. You could tell he came from the military because he came from the future. He was John Connor's uncle. But I don't want to say he was a father figure to him, but he definitely was a role model for him. He definitely helped him try to become that John Connor that he's supposed to become. Some of the smaller characters, Richard T. Jones plays this FBI detective. In Season 1, he was a detective who was following Sarah Connor, who was on her. He thought she was the stone-cold killer. He didn't believe a word that she said. And I really thought his character was interesting in the first season. And of course, by the end of that, he does find out about Terminators, about what's going on. So I thought that they would take him in Season 2, where he was still having to go after them, but this time maybe trying to help them cover their tracks, but still pretending like he's going after them. That would have been cool, but no. He ends up getting this job offer by this random CEO woman to be her security, and he just becomes such a less interesting character, such a boring character, almost like her puppet. And I'm like, why did you do that with this guy? Dean Winters played Charlie. Charlie, we saw in the first episode, he was the fiance of Sarah Connor. They were going to get married. He didn't know about her past, and she used a different name when she was with him. And then when he found everything out, it was like, fuck. So he remarried, but when they come back into contact with them, he gets conflicted on if he should help them, because he still has love for Sarah, and he wants to help John. So I liked his character a lot. Season 2, though, again, it was like he was there, and then he disappeared for 10 episodes. And that's a long time for his character to be gone. So that kind of sucked. Now, when I say that she was gone, or that they were gone, the pilot episode actually surprised me with this, where Cameron comes in and she leads them to this bank where there's like a time machine device, and they go 9 years in the future. And when I saw that, I was like, holy shit, that's crazy, and I loved it. But you see how that plays into some aspects of the show. And I do think that time travel was a problem with the show. I think they used it too much. There was too many Resistance members from the future that came to the past, and I'm just like, why would John Connor send this many people to the past? It seemed like overkill. Like this one girl, Jessie, comes to the past from the future. She was Derek Reese's love interest, and she's there to be with him, but you can tell she has ulterior motives, so she can't be trusted. I never liked her character. She seemed like she was just a waste of space there, to be honest. And then when you do find out her motives and the reasons for why she was doing what she was doing, I still didn't care about her. I just didn't. I did not like her character at all. There was another character, Riley, who was John Connor's love interest. And I didn't mind her. She was cute. and I wanted to see where she would go. And there was a lot of twists and turns with her character that surprised me. I think the only thing that I didn't like about her, which wasn't her fault, was just the realization that her being there and actually them doing the time travel of 9 years forward. John Connor never meets Kate Brewster, who in the third and fourth film, they sort of build up as a strong character for the future. She's the second in command for the Resistance. She's John Connor's wife. She has his kids. And I know you probably had to change that if they were going to do the 9-year jump thing because they're just not the same age anymore. It just sucks that we couldn't have a character that meant so much to John's future. The only thing, kind of, from the third film that I liked, and they had to get rid of it. Another thing that I didn't really care for was, in the second season, I mentioned how the CEO woman hires the detective. Well, you find out that she's a liquid metal Terminator. She's a T-1000. And in theory, that should be cool, right? Like, wow, Season 2 has a T-1000. Let's see what they do with her. They don't do anything with her. She's just there to just pretend to be the CEO woman who is taking care of the woman's daughter, but it's not really her daughter, so she's all kind of weirded out with the emotions of it. She doesn't really know what to do. And then you can tell she's working on something, and for the whole Season 2, all of Season 2, she looks like she's the villain. She looks like she's trying to restart Skynet and do all this stuff. But then the very last episode, you see that, or at least she says, that no, she's building something to fight Skynet. And you're like, what? And I know you could say that, oh, well, maybe she was reprogrammed in the future to come back to fight Skynet. But they never said that. They never addressed that. They never said, why was she doing this if she's a Terminator herself? So I thought nothing about her character made sense. I didn't understand her motivations. I didn't really get anything at all about her. But I will say that the action on the show was pretty good. The moments when Terminators did come after them, the action, the special effects that went into that, I thought all looked great. The one moment near the end of Season 2 where Summer Glau herself, like half of her face is gone and you see the robot eye on her, that was like, wow, I'm loving this. There were some moments of CGI Terminators, and that didn't quite look great, but still, it's a TV budget, so they did what they could with what they had. I appreciated that. So again, this show, I don't know if it sounded like I disliked it more than I did. I'm going to say that I did still like it. I did. There was more in it that I liked. There was a lot of episodes where I was like, this is really good. This is great. I'm loving the character stuff. But then there was other episodes that either I didn't care for the standalone stories that they were telling, and there was a lot of moments where I thought they did some stupid things that they shouldn't have done. Like one moment where they established that what they do when they kill a Terminator is they burn it to make sure it's dead. And then, of course, one episode where they kill a Terminator, they don't burn it for some reason, they bury it. They bury it in the sand, and then Sarah Connor's having dreams that it's going to come back, so when they go back to dig it up, it's gone. Of course. And it's like, why didn't you just burn it like you always do? I know. It is a shame that it got canceled, because the end of Season 2, that cliffhanger, I was like, wow, they just took this in a completely different and interesting direction. But we never got to see where that was going to go. So anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below if you watched Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. What did you think of it? Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Later!